I'm actually excited about this one. So let's get into it here. Gunther has really lacked a clear role, pretty much since inception for the most part. I'm gonna go ahead and we'll go into his buffs first, and I'll give you guys suggested builds for him. He is actually pretty useful in some things now. So his one pretty much does the same thing, 50% chance to cause a bleed. Unfortunately, when you upgrade it, there's no percentage chance upgrades, which I'm actually kind of sad about. I'd like to see the bleed chance go up there, but oh well. And then on his 2, Veteran, the caster does not deal a critical hit, but attack increases by 50%. Eventually it gets to 75%. This will be buffed so that it will also increase critical hit resistance by 70%, but just for him. So it gives him a little bit of survivability there, but personally I would have liked to see that be defense, but critical hit, you know, just the way it is. And then his 3, it's going to hit 29% harder, but then it is also going to decrease defense on top of stunning and bleeding. So this will be on a 3-turn cooldown, which is actually pretty cool, considering that the decreased defense is going to be a 2-turn debuff. And so that's pretty good. So the role I can see for this guy, I unfortunately do not see anything for him in PvP, but PvE, this guy is actually going to be quite a force. Now, you're asking me why, and I'll show you. His 1 puts up a bleed, 50% base chance, which, not terrible, not great. His 2 is just a static 75% attack buff, and then the crit resistance buff, which decent buff, not that great in my opinion, but helps him stay up. And his 3 also puts a bleed up, stuns, and will decrease defense. So this guy will be a single target damage dealing machine. Can't crit, he can't crit, but he can buff his attack to astronomical levels just basically because of his 2. And since he is a 3-star ML unit that is now in the regular pool, you should be able to get copies of him fairly easily. So you should be able to get to triple S. Hopefully, you know, if your account's been going 4, 5, 6 months, however long it's going to take now. And, you know, even if you don't, you should be able to unlock this and get it to, like, A or something to give everyone on your team additional 60 attack, which doesn't seem like much, but it adds up as an ore. And then you're putting up bleeds with this as well as decrease in defense to increase damage even more so, and then stun. You can effectively use this guy as a setup for someone like Surin or I forget her name, the girl from the Guilty Gear series. But basically anyone that can do combusting on bleeds, or anyone that takes advantage of debuff damage. So as well, I'm also going to recommend running, if you got it, the debuff set on this guy. If you don't, you could run attack set just fine if you're still early game or whatever. The 4 set. And then, since you don't have to worry about crit chance with this guy, you might as well just get effectiveness, because you're going to be wanting to put up dots as much as possible. Now, you are going to have to pay attention to his survivability a little bit. Hopefully, you got a team around him that's going to help keep him up. Because even with the crit resistance buff, you know, it's not straight defense, it's not bonus life or anything like that. Now, as far as what to give him, well, since he's a warrior, you just go ahead and give him Junkyard Dog, because he's already putting up debuffs. And this is assuming you guys were around to have Junkyard Dog, but Burn, as I've told you guys before, it actually ticks harder than Bleed, stacks with skills with attack damage to a greater degree. Now, if you don't have that for whatever reason, you know, don't be afraid to get like a L's Fist or something. Anything that would increase attack. Crimson Seed. Nah, that was good. Yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be it, because, I mean, you could run Durandal if you want his combat readiness to come up faster, which isn't a horrible thing. But overall, he's going to be, since he is a holy unit, he's effectively unresistible, or not unresistible, I shouldn't say that, but as far as, he doesn't have a hard counter. Yes, Dark does technically hard counter, but it's not like how Water, if Water tries to attack Earth, they get resisted most of the time. He can still hit dark just as hard. He can hit light as hard, fire, water, earth. He can hit them all really hard with his bleeding chances and his stacking damage and his debuffs. And since you don't have to worry about crit on him, he can become a very good focus fire boss, or focus fire damage unit. So you can essentially pick heavily on bosses. If you're fighting a boss that doesn't have a ton of health, like I said, go ahead and run Soul's Artifact. If you're fighting a boss that does have a bunch of health, you could just get him Daydream Joker or Max Daydream Joker, and he'll do good damage still to that boss. So it's something to consider. I just want to see how this guy's going to stack up in PvE. Should be really good. Maybe possibly for the world boss that's coming in the future. Just saying. And yeah, so that's going to be it for my recommendations on him. As far as what the upgrade, you definitely want to upgrade Veteran to max ASAP, get that attack, and then get the skill cooldown on this down. And then once you're there, you should probably just upgrade his 3, because his 3 is on a short enough cooldown that you should be fine with this. And then focus is 1 if you feel like it. Since it doesn't have any additional effectiveness, it kind of sucks in my opinion, the upgrades here, but damage is damage. And then stuff you want to focus on, attack of course, effectiveness, you can give him a little speed, that'll help too. And some survivability, get him to the point where he survives well enough with your team that you can always rely on him. You run him with an Acades, hey, this is going to be up every other turn, you know, assuming you were using that. You're using Acades 2 on him, or any type of skill cooldown hero. And that's pretty much it for recommendations for Gunther, guys. So if you plan on using Gunther, let me know. See you guys later on. Peace out.